Hey folks, King's Drummer here, and time for another video. Today was Black Friday, day after Thanksgiving, and while most of the country or part of the world is out there saving 60 to 7% off a flat screen TV, the rest of us were out vinyl shopping. And there were a lot of promotions out on Black Friday if you were a vinyl shopper to purchase, and I did take advantage of one of them. I'll show that much later in the video. So let's just show you what I have bought in the last day or two around the Thanksgiving holiday. And we'll start with this Rolling Stones record. It's called Still Life, a live recording. And I'll try to get the whole thing in frame here. Still Life. This is a live recording from their 1981 tour. And I'm not much of a Stones fan, and so I don't own anything by the Rolling Stones in any format. No CDs, no tapes, no albums. This is the first Rolling Stones release I have ever gotten. And the reason this seemed like an interesting purchase was because, number one, it's something that's collectible. It's a live recording from an 81 tour. And when I saw this in the vinyl shop, it looked pretty rare. It looked like something really rare, and it's a picture disc. Right here. There we go, picture disc. And you know, it's like I said, I'm not a Rolling Stones fan, but this looked pretty interesting. Even though I'm not a fan of this band, this looked really interesting, and I thought, why not? Why not get it? and for the most part, it's pretty enjoyable. There's some good music on it. Like, for instance, a lot of classic songs, such as Under My Thumb, Let's Spend the Night Together, and there's Time Is On My Side, Start Me Up, Satisfaction. So those are the songs I did like. They did a few classics, like Going to a Go-Go, and Let Me Go. So I mean, they do some cool stuff on here. The thing is, you know, I wasn't that impressed with the Rolling Stones as a live band, probably because they're too drunk or high to play very good. But and nothing against the Rolling Stones. I mean, they are one of those classic, iconic bands that have been around forever. And I do remember this tour in 1981. I remember it came to San Francisco at Candlestick Park, and that concert was a big event. And I remember seeing it on television, parts of the show. I remember they filmed a movie called Let's Spend the Night Together. I think some of the San Francisco footage was in that movie. I'm not sure because I've never seen that movie. But for the only time I'm going to buy something from the Rolling Stones, this was actually pretty cool to get. So, pretty cool collectible there. Another thing I bought because I thought it was a cool collectible was from the Police, Regatta de Blanc, or de Blanc, and this is on a 10-inch record. So, like, it's the only second 10-inch record I've ever had in my collection, and I had never seen this in 10-inch, and I thought it was pretty cool. So I went ahead and got this, the whole album on two 10-inch records, you can see here. And these are the original inserts, because it has the old, let's see if I can get it in there, that Police badge right there. And they got the whole album on two 10-inch records, and there's a custom label. Pretty cool, that. And I always loved the music by the Police. I always loved the drumming of Stuart Copeland. He's a fantastic drummer. He's one of my favorites, and this is a classic album from the band because it has Bring On the Night, it has Message in a Bottle, Walking on the Moon, some great songs on here. And, you know, I haven't spun it yet, but I know this album pretty well, so I can't wait to get into that. So I thought I saw it on 10-inch. Like I said, I don't have many 10-inch records in my collection, and to find such a popular title on 10-inch, I thought was pretty cool, so I went ahead and jumped all over it. So, Police on 10-inch. Another collectible is a Van Halen 7-inch record, or 45, and this is an import pressing from the UK. for their single "Don't Tell Me." The name of the album was "Balance," that the song came out of. This is a UK pressing, and it was printed on purple vinyl. I'll show you in a minute here. Yeah, there you go. Printed on purple vinyl. Pretty cool, that. B-side there. Now what's cool about this, let me get a little closer, that label is not a sticker, that's painted on the record itself, so very cool. So I went and listened to this one earlier today and it sounds great. You know, this was the last studio record to feature Sammy Hagar as lead singer in Van Halen, Balance, and Don't Tell Me was the first single off that album. And there's a lot of Van Halen fans, I think they felt like the split was starting to occur on that record, and so it's not regarded very highly as a good record. But I personally love the Balance album, so I was really happy to find a 45 single from that record. But it is one of my favorite Van Halen records. I did like the Sammy Hagar era of Van Halen, so really happy to have that collectible 45 in the UK. Okay, now we've reached that portion of my video where I'm going to show some guilty pleasure records that I picked up in the last day or two. You know, I think a pretty big percentage of my vinyl collection is guilty pleasure stuff, but I don't mind showing it. And since we just talked about Sammy Hagar, we're going to show this one. Sammy Hagar's Standing Hampton. And I found this in the dollar bin at my local store, which is called Rasputin. And the jacket's in really good shape. The vinyl is also in really good shape. I noticed that, you know, Hagar doesn't get a lot of love on the VC. And too bad, because I thought he was a good singer. Definitely a good entertainer. And every time you see him live, he puts on a great show. He doesn't disappoint. As you can see, the vinyl is in really good shape. It's on Geffen Records, Geffen label. And this is one of my favorite albums from him. It has the song I'm Falling in Love Again. It has Only One Way to Rock. It has Babies on Fire. And my personal favorite Sammy Hagar song as a solo artist was Heavy Metal, from the cartoon movie Heavy Metal. So really cool album. So and really good shape for a buck. I was really happy to have that one. Another guilty pleasure record from the mid 80s, 1984 and going into 85. The Art of Noise. Who's Afraid of the Art of Noise is the name of this album. And this brings back so many good memories for me. If you were a teenager during the mid 80s, you have to remember this. You maybe not remember anyone from the band per se, but if the big craze during the time was breakdancing, so there was a lot of breakdancing crews out there, and if you even just a spectator watching these people dance, they always dance to the song called Beatbox. Beatbox was a huge album for breakdancers, and this band, The Art of Noise, was pretty revolutionary, I thought, because they were playing synth pop, kind of avant-garde, ambient type of stuff, using a lot of early days of sampling. So they were like one of the first bands I really heard doing sampling, and a lot of drum machine and program rhythms and melodies on keyboard and synthesizer. I never knew who was in this band. I just knew the music, and it looked like Trevor Horn was a part of this band called The Art of Noise. And it really was a non-group. It was just a bunch of electronic sounds put to a drum machine rhythm, and with some sampling here and there, and really interesting. So the song Beatbox was the big popular song on the streets, because, like I said, a lot of breakdancers used to break and do their routines to that song. Another song called Close to the Edit. I used to think it was Close to the Edge. Now, if you were a young person back in 84 and 85, You might remember the video for Close. He had it. It was this little girl, must have been about 9 or 10 years old, and they dressed her up in punk rocker clothes and put this crazy makeup on her face, and she looked creepy. And there was these couple guys in suits, and they were kind of hanging around the railroad tracks and the docks, and they were just beating the living crap out of this grand piano with hammers and a chainsaw. It was a very weird video, but it's a weird album. And Moments in Love, more of a down-tempo, almost R&B sounding song. Really cool album this. So, another guilty pleasure. I don't know if this is really a guilty pleasure, but it's a good album. It's The Cult and Sonic Temple. I almost forgot the name of the record. And I remember Biosite 1 showed it recently in one of his videos, and it just got me remembering how great an album this was. I remember I didn't own it, my buddy of mine owned the cassette to this back when it was new, and I remember he'd play that thing to death all the time when we were cruising. I remember Firewoman, and I remember Edie the most from here, but I'm sure there's The Sun King, there's Soul Asylum. I mean, there's some good songs on here, and can't wait to revisit this. This brings back a lot of good memories. So The Cult, Sonic Temple. And I guess you could say this is a guilty pleasure record. I saw a lot of members of VC throw this record up a few times, and it kind of got me curious. It's the Pat Travers Band, Heat in the Street. And this is actually a pretty fun record. I did listen to this one, and enjoyed it quite a bit. You know, I think it came out in 1978, if I'm not mistaken. Oh yeah, it came out in 1978. And it's a fun record. It's a real fun record for the time. It's real intense guitar rock, and I noticed it featured one of my favorite drummers, which is Tommy Aldridge, which is this guy right here. Tommy Aldridge, not only did he drum for Pat Travers' band, he also drummed for Ozzy Osbourne and later Whitesnake, and he was always one of my favorite 80s heavy metal drummers. And the guy was just a beast on the drum kit. And he does some really good drumming on this album, particularly the very first song that opens it, which is called Heat in the Street, and the second song, Killer's Instinct. And some great power drumming by Tommy Aldridge on this record, and a really enjoyable record as well, so I'm real glad to have it in the collection. This is definitely a guilty pleasure record, but I love the music. It's Level 42, Running in the Family, and I still remember when this record came out, and I believe 87. The big song on here was Lessons in Love. But, you know, Children Say and the song Running in the Family was really cool. To Be With You Again wasn't bad. The material starts to thin out a little bit on the second side, but the first side is really entertaining. And fun record. Mark King, who's the bass player and the singer in this band, fantastic bassist. And it's been a few years since I've heard the music on this record. I forgot how good a bass player he was. The guy is just a phenomenal bass player, and really glad to have this. Found it in the dollar bin at Rasputin, and as soon as I brought it home and threw it on here, I was like whisked back to 1987. That is a fun record. This I got after watching one of Jeff Recordman's Essentials videos. I just got this today, haven't listened to it yet, but I can't wait. It's Jackson Browne. The name of this album is Late for the Sky. And Jeff Recordman really praised this to death. I have Running on Empty. Really like that album. And like I said, I just bought this today and haven't had a chance to spin it yet. But I really can't wait to get in this record. I loved Running on Empty, every song on it. And I actually own a DVD called, a movie called Almost Famous, which is directed by Cameron Crowe. As an extra, he has some of his favorite records from 73 and 74, and this was actually included in that list of favorite records that came out during that year. And he praised it to death too, so Cameron Crowe and Jeff Recordman highly recommend this record, so I went and got it. Maybe later tonight, I'll probably open a couple beers, I'll sit back and relax and spin this one. Got a good feeling about that record, like I'm going to love it. Okay, now this one's really cool. Pink Floyd has been releasing a lot of reissues now lately with Dark Side of the Moon and I Wish You Were Here. And eventually I'm going to get off my keister and go out and get those records, because I'm a big Pink Floyd fan, and seeing those reissues really makes me want to run out and get them. But I saw this in the record store. It's a limited edition import from the fan club of this band, Pink Floyd. And well, the record's called "Wish You Were Here." And we all seen this cover, the Burning Man shaking hands with the other guy. So we all know the songs that are on this. You know, "Have a Cigar," "Welcome to the Machine," "Shine on You," "Crazy Diamond." Some good music on here. And this was a rare press because it's a limited edition import. I guess it was a fan club record, and it was printed on colored vinyl. And here we go. Got a yellow with a marble finish. Really nice. And I had already spun this album, and I'm telling you, this this thing sounds great. I already had "Wish You Were Here" on vinyl, but it's a beat up used copy I bought for a couple of bucks. That's why I got so excited when I saw the reissues come out. I was going to save up so I can buy that and Dark Side of the Moon. But when I saw this in the store today, and you know, today being Black Friday, you know, it was originally 25 bucks. They took like 20% off, and I went ahead and got it. And I'm real happy I got it because it looks cool. The color vinyl looks cool, and the music on here is absolutely amazing. And I don't really know which one I like more out of Dark Side of the Moon or this record. I mean, it's almost a tie to me, because the music on both records are just amazing. I think Dark Side is more of an iconic record because it's Dark Side. It's like most people's anthem. But this is a damn good album itself, and I kind of think I favor this one more than Dark Side of the Moon. But I don't know. I guess it depends on the mood. So, one record I was really glad to pick up on Black Friday. Pink Floyd's Dark Side of the Moon on colored vinyl. It's just amazing. Alright, like I said, there was a lot of rare promotional things coming out on Black Friday. There was a 7-inch collection from from Pink Floyd. There was another 7-inch collection from the Beatles. There was some from Janis Joplin. There was a record of demos from The Who, from the Quadrophenia sessions, and those were all fantastic things, and I would have loved to have bought them, but there was one reissue that was released on Black Friday that I couldn't wait to get my hands on, and it was just as expensive as all the other ones I mentioned, but this one, once I heard it was going to be released on Black Friday, I was really psyched. It's Dream Theater, Metropolis Part 2, Scenes from a Memory. And this was released just today being Black Friday, the 25th of November, and it's a 2-record set pressed on 180 gram vinyl, reissue from an album that was released in 1999. And it's the gatefold. Just a spectacular record. Spectacular record. Like I said, this was a reissue. The original came out, the CD came out in 1999. I remember I bought it. I bought the CD the day it was released. And I immediately went to my car and threw it in the stereo and just rocked out to it. And this is just a fantastic. I mean, when I first bought the CD, I was blown away, and I just got done listening to this, and man, it just took me back to when it feels like I'm listening to it for the first time. It's remixed. It makes it sounds fantastic. Great to have this on vinyl. It's great to have for years I've been looking at this on a tiny CD. It's kind of good to have a big cover on vinyl. This is just a killer kind of prog metal record. And I'll tell you what was going on with the band by the time this came out. At the time this came out, I think the record label had switched personnel. Whoever signed Dream Theater back in the day, well, they were no longer at the label. The label just cleaned house and brought in a whole staff of new people, and they had bright ideas where the record label should go as far as artists they were releasing, music they were releasing, and Dream Theater didn't fit into the picture very well. I think they want one album that came out with this new staff was Falling Into Infinity, and they brought in a lot of outside songwriters to work with the band to try to generate a hit single. Now, if you know anything about Dream Theater, they're not a band that puts out hit singles. And it almost broke up the band. I remember the drummer Mike Portnoy said in interviews that he had hit a point where he just didn't like this new direction the label was trying to put the band in, and he was going to quit. He was going to walk, and I think the label was willing to let him put out one record and let the band do it their way. And so this was their last chance, and things were so desperate they even kicked out the keyboard player at the time, which was Derek Serenian, and they got in a new keyboard player. His name is Jordan Rudess. Jordan Rudess is just an amazing keyboardist, and this is the first album that featured Jordan Rudess, their new keyboard player. And the band didn't reinvent itself, but the things that made Dream Theater so cool, the epic long songs, the long instrumental parts, and songs with had a huge concept to it. Well, that was done to the max on this album. In fact, this whole record is a concept record. It's one continuous story from the first song all the way to the last song. This was just a great album. And if this album didn't succeed when it was first released, the band was through. If the fans didn't take to it and dig it, I think they were just going to call it a day and say, "Oh, we tried, but it's just not working out anymore." But instead, they released it. The fans just loved it. It's like the best Dream Theater album we've heard since Images and Words and Wake. The thing rocked. It rocked really, really hard. It was a huge statement, artistic statement for this band. And I saw a show from this tour that supported this album in San Francisco at the Maritime Hall in San Francisco, and they did the whole album in its entirety, and it was just amazing. And the crowd was so into it. It was one of the most energetic, emotional shows I've ever been to, because it worked. The band was back, and it came out with a killer album. And today it was released on vinyl, and I am so happy to have it. I was listening to it, and I can remember it just brought back memories of me seeing it the first time in San Francisco. It really put a smile on my face. Well, folks, that's it. That's it for Black Friday. Well, I guess that's not it. My local store was actually handing out free buttons for anybody who wanted it on Black Friday, so I got this Pink Floyd button. Why Pink Floyd? Because they're a damn good band, that's why. So I got something free, and besides handing over my money. And that's it, folks. That's what I got on Black Friday, and I'll see you. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I hope everybody didn't get trampled to death trying to buy something in the malls, in the shopping malls and department stores. I hope we all came out of Black Friday in one piece. And that's it for me, and I'll see you at the next video.